Welcome to the Tap in Indy Podcast. I'm Nick McDaniel, and as you've seen the rotation over the last month or so, we have a special guest host on a weekly basis. And this week, man, this took me a while to pull off, but we finally pulled it off. All the way from Scotland.
Yeah, man.
Bad news and tattoos himself, Carlie Bravo. What's going on, buddy?
What's good, brother? How you feeling?
Good, man. Like I said, it took us a while. We got the schedules lined up, and man, I'm happy. I've been wanting you on for a while now, and I think you got a lot to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't I always? I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for the questions. You know, I love the podcast, so I'm ready to get things rolling, baby.
Well, I appreciate you've always been a supporter of the podcast, and let me tell you, man, if you guys are looking for a way to support the podcast, check us out over on patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Listen, it's real simple. It's everything that's free is there as well. You can have a free account. But if you want to support the show a little more, even at the dollar layer, you get that little show notes and all that kind of stuff that, kind of gives you a deep dive, because there's lots of stuff from week to week. We just can't get to everything that's on the show notes, especially on like the spotlight and things like that, man. But $5 level, you get the shows early. $10, you get those digital collectibles that we put out there exclusively to our Patreon members. And Carlie, listen, you were one this past month that we sent out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at the $25 level, they got those physical 8.5 by 11s. You personally signed for me at the One Fall show.
Shout out to whoever got that. That was worth a lot of money, man. You hang that up in your crib and save it for like 20 years. It's gonna be worth $1 million.
Hey, that's the plan. I want to get a lot of these young, guys that are coming up to the ranks. You're already up there, man, crushing it at AEW Ring of Honor.
Thank you.
So it was a huge win. They got a doubleheader this month. It was you and Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, Double J, Last Outlaw. That's my guy, man. That's a hell of a
$25. Can you beat that?
For $25, I charge like $300 for my autographs, and I can imagine what Double J is charging. So you came off with a steal. See?
I agree, man. And that's it. So we appreciate all you guys supporting the show, but man, without question, let's get into the meat of it.
What's up?
Georgia Indy Wrestling, we'll get into some AEW Ring of Honor stuff, when we get to the questions. We appreciate everybody sending in the questions. But speaking of the first question, because this is an indie show, Nick from Houston wants to know, what made you decide you wanted to come back to Georgia? And not just work, because here's the thing, you back and you're working a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also spending a lot of time working with some younger talents and trying to make them rise. Why? That's my question I get a lot. Why would you do that?
All right. So first, I came from Georgia Wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no other better way to say that, right? A lot of the ways my perceptions and my values on pro wrestling come from the people that train me and raise me. In this regard, QT and Cody. I don't remember the exact reason that he said it to me, but I remember I was doing something in my early years with when I was wrestling, and I went back to QT and I was like, "Yo, coach, I did this crazy show or something like that." And I don't remember what made him say it, but his response to me was something like, "Well, did you tell him about your brothers and sisters at the Nightmare Factory? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you put one of your boys over or something like that?" And that always stuck with me. You feel what I'm saying? I really feel like you gotta, this is my home base, and I want this to be, I feel like there's such a cornucopia of talent here that I want them to be ready for wherever they go and for whatever it is they want to do, and not just be stuck in a bubble here. How are they ever gonna know what it's like outside if somebody that went outside don't come back and show them what it's like out there, right? So that's how I felt. I wanted to, there was a hole missing. And I wanted to, I felt like people were getting trapped in a bubble, and I really wanted to elevate this scene to make it mean something. When you zoom out on the indie pro wrestling lens, there's the Northeast that's killing it over there. The West Coast got their own market. The Midwest, David Ali out there going crazy in the Midwest. The Texas loop got a thing going on, and then the South is known, right? But it's known for its old school Haas fight in the WCW, that style of wrestling. It all came from the South, right? But at this current moment, the South wasn't really feared or wasn't really being spoken about when it comes to the indie map of wrestling. And I wanted to change that because we had so much talent out here, and I wanted to show them what was going on out here and then show the guys out here that they could step it up and go crazy. So it was like a hand thing. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I made a post the other day, and you literally were the one that in my brain that was like, mentors don't pass the torch. They also teach you how to carry the torch. Like that was a thing, like you coming back and I, just having conversations we've had and some
Mm-hmm.
of the guys, like, it's like, hey, it's easy to go and go
Mm-hmm.
alone, and especially in this business, right? It's
Yeah.
so easy to like, it's a me, 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 and then rise. But how cool is it to like grab somebody and pull them along for the ride? And
Yeah.
I see what you're
Yeah.
doing with some of these young cats.
It's not even just, and for me, it's not even individual. I see certain people and they stick out, and I start like keeping an eye on them or specifically giving them a little something. But for the most part, it's like that. It's like that Greek statue with the dude with the world on his shoulder. What's his name? Atlas or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. That's what I'm trying to do with this scene. I'm trying to really put it on my shoulders and raise it up. You know what I'm saying? Single handedly at that. But then I'm also, by me doing it, I'm getting some of my friends to do it too, right? We cover, me and my friends are covering like 4 divisions, going crazy right now. Between me and I'm doing single stuff. Then you got me and Cap coming and doing tag stuff. Then you got females like Robin going crazy on here. Like, so it's a Jack Jameson out here going crazy. So it's an influx of dudes and women who are at the top coming down and spreading and raising it all up. You know what I'm saying, with me. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Justice League, if you will. Hey man, I didn't even plan it. It just started happening.
Yeah, and like when you first came back, it was just like I said. I saw you at some of the turnbuckle slash now one fall and
Mhm.
AWE and all of these the different promotions. And so I kind of want to ask you another question that's kind of been bounced around a lot because, and every time we have somebody on, we kind of ask this question like, who's setting that standard, right? Like in Georgia right now, the promotions, like when you're looking out, like what makes you decide like that's a promotion that like I want to go out there because they're developing good talents and creating an opportunity.
That's it. You just hit the nail on the head, right? They developing good talent. I like hearing things with a little bit of a rumble to it. I go into looking at like there's certain promotions that it's just like a no brainer because I see what they're doing for the state, i.e. One Fall. You know what I'm saying? I see what One Fall is doing for the scene. I see what it's doing for the state. I'm gonna plug it, and it's a cheap plug. But if you're an indie wrestler and you're not at One Fall, you tripping. You know what I'm saying? I think that is the most. That is the most. That's the closest thing you can get to TV wrestling out here for learning TV wrestling and learning from people. You never know who's gonna be in that locker room. You get what I'm saying? So that's that. But then also like I look at somewhere like PCW, right? PCW got a lot of talent that wants to be good. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like they want to be good, and narcissism can only do but so much. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to go back there and just help the people out there. Just show them some stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about moves and nothing like that, but what to do in your matches, why to do things, when to take your pauses, what to do with the crowd, like stuff like that. Stuff that really matter. Everybody want to do moves. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome, but like that's not what this is all about here. So I look at stuff like that. All the places, all the promotions. Especially the startup ones that you won't expect someone like me to go to. I remember I remember there was a promotion around called Forever Pro back in the day. That was trying to
Mm-hmm.
get its wings up, and I wanted to slide through there. I wanted to slide through. I want Hold My Beer Hanson's promotion whenever I get a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like Coastal Empire. You know what I'm saying? Like these places that are doing their thing. I wanna help go there and show them like, hey, like we our Georgia wrestling, our blood DNA is in all these places. You know what I'm saying? So let's really boost them up. Let's make them a thing. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's something you tagged in there. I want to ask you about because here's the funny thing. There's a funny story about I guess our past, right? Like, and I say our past. I remember and I tell the story all the time. The first time I saw you,
Hmm.
I said he's got it. I don't know
Oh,
what it is, but he's got it. And what I
yeah.
meant by that was, and I saw you work in the ring, and I was like, he's good. But it wasn't that. That
Hmm.
wasn't what made me go, he's got it. It was like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
had that star, it was like, boom. I don't know who he, here's a funny story you may not remember. You were doing a live stream. You were on just sitting out in front of it was a big building. You're sitting out on the road. Kid
Okay.
walks up to you and says, hey man, can I get a picture with you? And then like you're taking the picture with him and he goes, so what do you do? And I remember
Who's that?
laughing, going, you remember this now, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I remember
he
it.
was like, I don't, and you're like, I'm a wrestler. And he was like, oh, hey, and you're like, you don't even know what I do. He was like, nah, but I could tell you were somebody.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
tell kids. Always be presenting yourself like a star. It's all
Hmm.
about personality. I think that's one of the things, and that's what I want to ask you about is like you go back in those locker rooms and you're like, I get it. everybody wants to be the best wrestler.
Hmm.
And I'm like, that ain't it. Like
Yeah.
that's there's only so far you're going with that.
For surely, for surely. So there, all right. So for me, it's a two-way street, right? So I'm gonna take it from the top and I'm gonna bring it to the bottom. So I work with the greatest wrestlers on planet Earth. They my coworkers, right? They are I'm talking the greatest wrestlers on the planet Earth are my coworkers. I'm eating lunch with these dudes. You get what I'm saying? I've only been wrestling for about 5 years now. At this point, I'm not, they've been wrestling at this point for 20 years now. I'm not going to get to their level. You know what I'm saying? They're going crazy. I would have to wrestle 2 lifetimes to get to their level to where they're at, right? So, like, so then what do you do? Right? What I do know is that there's so many great wrestlers, but there's only one bad news and tattoos, and that's the ticket for me. There's only one Carlie Bravo out of everybody on this roster. That's cool, right? Because there's billions of people in this world, but there's only one Carlie Bravo, and that's what I lean into. You know what I'm saying? Like all my experiences, everything that I've done, my resume of everything has all meshed into a one of one, and that's the thing that I lean into more than anything. Now, the fact that all right, so QT, one of the biggest compliments. I heard him talking about me to someone else, and he was speaking about like my personality and how that's what got me over. And he was like, the fact that he can go between the ropes from bell to bell is a compliment. And I thought that was it's like a bonus. That was the biggest compliment I could take. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like handling your business in the ring is very very important. You gotta. This is a profession. We are professional wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you got to be able to handle your profession. But this is also pro wrestling is also intertwined with sports entertainment, and I take that very, very seriously. And I'm a Shawn Michaels guy. In a world full of everybody trying to be Bret Hart, I'm a Shawn Michaels type of guy. You know what I'm saying? And Shawn was good in that ring, but Shawn captivated me with his personality, his energy, and the person that he was. And that's what I'll be pushing for. You feel me?
Well, it's a lot of it. I always tell somebody, you can be the best wrestler in the planet, period.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't talk anybody into sitting in those seats to watch you and nobody saw it, what does it matter?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
gift that you have. You get them there, and you
yeah,
get them
man.
sitting in the seats. To me. And I hate to be look, and I'm just a fan. And I tell people that, but when I look at somebody, I'm always like, I think that's 60% of the game at minimum. 40% is the in the ring. You have to be capable in the ring,
Yes,
but you
yes,
got to
yes.
entertain them and get them there to begin with. Or they just because if they don't care, the moves don't matter.
Yeah, you gotta want them. You gotta make them want you even more than that. You gotta make them connect with you. All the people that be in the seats are my people. You know what I'm saying? Every single person that's in there, we are bad news and tattoos. We all together. You know what I'm saying, and I pull from that, you know what I'm saying? Or I don't like none of you. And you all can go to hell. And I'm gonna beat the smack out of whoever's in front of me that y'all cheering for, and then we just gonna connect that way. it's, it's depending on which way you want to play the coin, you know?
Yeah, and I think that to me that's a lot of times. And I again, it's look, I try to go as many one fall shows as possible. I agree
Mhm.
with you. I tell wrestlers, no matter where I see them, wrestling is about just being at the right place at the right time, and there ain't a better place to be at least the opportunity. I'm not saying it'll always pan out, but the opportunities are greater there than anywhere else. That you're going
For
to be
sure.
seen by somebody that matters in this world.
And you'll just uh not even you'll be seen, but your match will definitely be seen, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to get the critique that could possibly get you seen. You know what I'm saying? That's really what I say. Like, right? Like QT notorious for like, yeah, you can know me, but like and you get what I'm saying? Like that don't mean nothing, right? Like don't look for nobody to save you. Don't I always came up with that, like don't look at nobody at that show to save you. And I always felt that way. You get what I'm saying? Like go there to try and learn something to be a better wrestler. Every match you should be going to learn something to be a better wrestler. I don't like I didn't have matches and I wouldn't run the QT and be like, Coach, did you see that? You know what I'm saying? Like my question was, yo, Coach, what'd you think of my match and what could I do to make that match better? That's the only question that matters. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody want to be seen for the limelight rather than like going there to perfect your craft and then letting that do what it does for you. That's just how I always looked at it. You feel me?
Yeah, my exact quote to a young man was, "Some shows you might be in there, and I've thrown your like, hey, you might be in the ring with the Infantry as a tag team. You might be in there with Billy or QT. Some matches, though, because you've been around a little while, you're going to be teaching the young guy that's really green. And by the way,
Yeah.
there's a huge lesson in that,
Yeah.
being the teacher in the ring, and that's just
Mhm.
that opportunity to get better on a regular basis.
Surely.
Now, the flip side of that, the other thing I think they learn, this is what I wanted to ask you about. I think there's a huge opportunity also how to learn in being professional going to those shows about how to behave in the back, whether it's with bookers, whether it's with the promoters. And,
Yeah.
you know, in a lot of that scenario, it is the QTs and the Billies and the,
Mm-hmm.
look, I try not to go too far behind, but James, and Scott and
Mm-hmm.
all those people that are involved, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, how you behave with those people matters. Like, is that something if you ever see it in the locker room, are you like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. And you mentioned those guys, but it could be if you're in Georgia, it's a Dylan, it's a Todd.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's a Hanson, it's a Bryce. You know what I'm saying? It could be a Renegade. It could be any of these guys. You get what I'm saying? Like I think people need to remember that this is a job, even on the indie level. This is a job. You want to go to your job. You wanna put your best foot forward. You know, I'm of the perspective of go to your job and mind your business. You know what I'm saying? I've always, you know what I'm saying. I'd rather be an under the radar overwhelmer than an over the radar underwhelmer. Just blew my own mind. Do you feel me? That was awesome. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be under the radar and you'd be like, yo, I didn't see that coming. A lot of times that's how I got on. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, when I was, because I got humbled when I first got in the game and I was an over the radar underwhelmer because I looked the part and I'm all kind of outside. But like, then when it was time for me to do all what I was supposed to do, I was new in the game. I was still scratching my teeth. I didn't fulfill what I looked like. You get what I'm saying? So I had to really humble myself and put myself, even when I went on my indie run, I had to really go like put my head under the water and just grind. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where now you might not even see me walk in. You see my entrance and then you see like, oh, hold on, he could go in the ring. Now I'm an under the radar overwhelmer, which is a lot better. You know, I think that's the best way, especially even in the locker room. Go say hello to the promoter, say hello to the booker, be respectful, then go sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? And wait for the assignment that's going to be given to you and do what you got to do from there. A lot of dudes try to be buddy buddy with their bosses, and that's never the way to go. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you are the talent. Yes, you hold the power in this whole thing. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But at that current moment, someone is employing you for some money for a fee that you was cool with, you know what I'm saying, that you agreed to. So now be a man of your word, have integrity, and do the job. You know what I'm saying? That's my new thing. I don't know if I can curse, but do the effing job.
You
That's
can,
my
you
new.
can, yeah, fully go ahead. You
Do the fucking
unleash it.
job. That's
Yeah,
the thing. That's really what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
and
That's the best advice I would give.
yeah, and here's why I want to follow up with that, because I find it very just insane at times when guys are like, "Oh, that, you know, no, that doesn't work. Like, I can't do that, or I can't." And I stress this across the board when I hear guys at other locker rooms going, "Oh, I can't lose clean," or "I can't do this." I'm like, let me explain another promotion, and I'm because I don't want to keep saying their name, but where I'm like, guys are like, okay, whatever, like,
Yo,
yeah, it's what it is.
I've never told. I've never. I've two things. I've never had a problem losing, and I've never told anybody I wasn't going to lose. That does nothing. You know what I'm saying. Even when I felt like I deserved to win or I should have been winning, that's not what we're here for at the end of the day. For one, I'm not gonna pull the curtain back too much, but obviously this ain't real. You know what I'm saying? Like it's real to me, damn it. But but you feel what I'm saying? Like we're not doing this for this winning this championship or not getting beaten clean is not it's not damaging anything. You know, people just sometimes they buy too much into their own hype or they believe too much of their own stuff. You get what I'm saying? It just messes up the stuff. But those are the people that when people come in contact with them, you know they're not going to make it very long because this is you have to put your ego aside in a business like this at every single level. You have to put your ego aside. So
Now, at sometimes though, you're starting to like, hey, you earn a position on the card. So I
surely,
wanted to ask you while we're talking about it. There's some shows, promoters out there that have given you, and you can look you and Shawn Dean as a team as the Infantry. Like lately, you guys are just highlighted anywhere and everywhere. Who do you think in Georgia? Because we're going to stick again to Georgia at the moment.
yeah.
Like who's giving you guys the best spotlight, the opportunities, across the board in the state of Georgia?
So I would have to say, for me, unequivocally in Georgia, Southern Honor and AWE, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. Those two were the building blocks for my whole situation. They Captain had a different indie run than I did. So I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want to speak to his. And then our infantry indie run happened after we had our real infantry run really happened after we had already established ourselves on TV and stuff like that. So the answers I'd say, and again, I'm a Georgia indie guy. So for me, it was Southern Honor, and it was, and later it was Southern Honor, and then as I really went on my own solo thing when I came back to Georgia, it was AWE. I would say 100%.
Did it? Nick from Houston wants to know.
Please.
There was a moment where I felt like AWE. Look, it's full out there. They were in a rough patch. It happens.
Yeah.
But I felt like there was a moment where you essentially, and I know they've had other guys hold that title and a lot, but you put that company on your back and your shoulders and literally just pushed to it got hot again like nobody. And I used to tell people, Atlanta, just Georgia wrestling is so much better when they're on fire.
For sure.
And what a way to strike that match with putting that title, you when you became the champ and just started just burning through some dudes coming through there.
That's first off, that's my belt right there. That's my baby. Yo, so Atlanta, like I said this from the beginning. I don't know if I said it again, but I say it again. I love Georgia wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I love Georgia wrestling because of everything that it gave to me. You know what I'm saying? Everything that it taught me, I came up during this. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, there was a need that needed to be filled. There was a need that needed to be filled. Atlanta Wrestling AWE is legendary out here. It's where I got my start at. The people that have went through there, it's a who's who of whatever, and I saw that I saw what needed to be done is a better way of saying that. You know what I'm saying? So once I took that title, I just went to Murder. I went to Josh. I say, line them up. Line them up. Line up whoever you want to bring out here. Because let me tell you something. A lot of people don't know this. Murder One got one of the deepest phone books, with the exception of QT Marshall. Murder One got the deepest contact phone book in Georgia and possibly the game. Murder One is playing Madden with your favorite wrestlers right now. You get what I'm saying? Like, my man is plugged in all the way. So and there's people that love him. He's been responsible for so many people that people don't even, you know what I'm saying? When you think Murder One, you don't think Darby Allin. You should. You know what I'm saying? When you think of Murder One, you don't think Priscilla Kelly. You should. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've had their hands. I saw MJF for the first time at AWE back in the day. You get what I'm saying? So it's he's got his hands in everything. You know what I'm saying? So I told him, line him up. You know what I'm saying? There's people that want to come to Georgia, and I knew, all right, so like it's a two-way street as far as getting this talent out here too, right? Like, you can have a champion that's doing a thing, but like, you have to have something that other people want as well, right? And I hate being humble, so I'm on fire right now. I'm on fire. And even this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going everywhere. I'm doing my thing. My name is ringing bells. I'm on every list that's coming out. So if I hold this belt, they're gonna want to test their jibs against me. They're gonna want to see what's up with it, right? So let's do it. Bring them out. And then let's put these shows in the middle of the city and let everybody see them. You know what I'm saying? One of my proudest moments was it Shit Hit Different? Was that the big one that everybody went crazy at? Was that oh man, we sold that show. Every show got bigger and bigger. It went from 5 to 25 to 50 to 125, and that Shit Hit Different show was like 300, 400 people in that little ass place. And then it was a mixture of worlds. It wasn't even just pro wrestling people. We have pro wrestling people and hip hop people all combined going crazy. Man, listen, that was wonderful. You feel what I'm saying? And I worked somebody that wasn't very well known at that show. That, at least to everybody else, I could have worked O'Shea there. I could have worked who else did I work? I could have worked Cameron there. I'm sorry, it's not his name anymore. But you get what I'm saying? Like, I could have worked any of these guys. I could have worked Top Dollar there, right? Instead, I went against the Anarchy champion and did my thing with that. You know what I'm saying? And unified the belts there and put more eyes on Georgia. Even though, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's really what it's about. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It is right now. And the scene in general is just on fire. There's a lot of young names out there. And I kind of wanted to ask you about that next, because here's the thing. It's a lot of times when we talk indie wrestling, it's, like, hey, I work here and here. You work everywhere. So you're very familiar with these. So I wanted to ask you, I put out lists all the time. And by the way, folks, they're lists for a reason. They're just my opinions. They are what they are.
Yeah.
So my list for Carlie Bravo, one of them today is going to be wrestlers that you see out there right now who are right there on the edge. They're ready to make that jump to TV. Like, if you
Sheesh.
had to give
Yep.
me just a couple on this list, who would it be?
A couple names that's right there off the top of my dome. I always start this list with this kid, Hollywood Hunter James. That's the top of my list. The kid looked great. The kid got it. I mean, I just always thought he was there. And Helica Risk, crazy with it. You know what I'm saying? Crazy little Spitfire. Uh, Darian Bankston, crazy, crazy. I don't even know why his name not brought up in the freaking Hall of Fame in Georgia. The kid's great. He's responsible for so many people. I'm trying to think. There's so that's right. That's already ready for TV. We gotta bring them right there.
Can I ask you one that
Yeah.
this is a name that is in conversation after conversation after conversation
Oh,
about why he's not signed. Joe Black.
all right. So my answer on Joe, it's one of my OGs. My answer on Joe is that I feel like Joe wasn't looking for attention, and people decided to give him what he was asking for. That's the realest way, you know. Joe is like a warrior, like a samurai
Mm-hmm.
that went on a self like he was wrestling, but he was quiet. You know what I'm saying? He went on like a self-induced exile, and people respected that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you saw Joe where you saw Joe, that meant Joe wanted to be there. But we're not gonna ask you to go places that we don't feel like you want to go, right? I say that because now I don't know if you've ever noticed. It was like a Joe. I don't know how it's possible, but because he never went nowhere, but it's like a Joe Black resurgence right now. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? One of my happiest moments this year was seeing Joe Black at a One Fall show. Now I don't know if everybody realized how big that is. And then he didn't just come out to the One Fall show. He came out to the One Fall show at the Action Building, and the place went nuts. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying? Unfortunately, my best friend Rosie, Rosario Grillo, Big 2-5, he took the L on that one. And I saw his face. His face, I mean, he had a beautiful tan, but it went pale. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody want to be across from Joe. You know, I do, but nobody. You get what I'm saying? But like, it's. I think that's why. I think now Joe is starting to see the. I think Joe is also he's ready for it. You know, I think Joe was fully evolving into everything that Joe has become. I think now he's ready for the spotlight. I think he's seeing that he's carried the companies for years. But I mean, now
Mm-hmm.
at the level that he's at, with the way that he's changing his gear constantly, with the way he's playing to the crowd, the chants, everything like that, I think now he's ready. I mean, I think he's always been ready, but in his mind, I think now he's ready to even deal with all of it that comes with that.
I'm going to ask because again, this is an outsider asking the question. So
Please, please.
my question was, do you think did he want TV? That was your question. Like,
Yeah, I don't think he. I think Joe was just loved wrestling and just was in his own world, doing what he wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he just was. He was exceptionally quiet. You know what I'm saying? He won championships. He was outside, but like you wasn't outside. You know what I'm saying? He was like a silent like assassin that was just coming through and doing what he was doing. And then you'd see him in the back or he'd be posted up in his corner. You know what I'm saying? He's the person that knows all the boys, but he's getting dressed dolo. He's by himself. He's chilling. You know what I'm saying? He's very warrior minded. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's what it was. I think he was honing his craft and getting himself together. And I think now, because this wrestling is a two-way street, right? It's not just if the fans want us, but it's do we want to be ready for everything that comes with that as well?
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're in that limelight. You're in that position. You're shaking those hands. You never turn it off. You know what I'm saying? I think he was getting himself mentally prepared for all of that. But I do think it was a self. I think it was just him. Like just getting himself together. You know what I'm saying? For whatever that is.
And look, we've heard many stories of guys that just when they make it too soon, and they don't stay because they're like, I wasn't built for this. Like, I don't want this. Like, all of this. They wanted to be wrestlers. They didn't want the travel. They didn't want
Yep.
the living out of
Yep.
a suitcase. All that.
Yep.
There's a lot that gets thrown on your back, and you got to live with that. And I think you just
Yeah.
got to be built different.
Yeah,
But
man. I mean, somebody like me, I'm $14,000 suits and high rise suites, baby. I was built for this lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what everybody else is on. You know what I'm saying?
well, everybody's not. And the other thing that's built, not people aren't always built for this. And I wanted to ask you this: you've kind of filled one of these roles. Look, you've only been doing this 5 years.
Hmm.
But you've come back and you've kind of become a guy in the locker room that people are, hey, looking for advice and looking for, just feedback and all that kind of stuff. But in Georgia, this is one of the, I
Yes.
think has always been one of Georgia's strengths. We've always heard about these guys.
Yeah.
Who are those guys, those veterans or the leadership that sets the tone in the locker room that these guys need to be listening to and like picking their brain when they get an opportunity?
I'm sure that there are people that I'm not going to mention because I'm not everywhere now. You know what I'm saying? As far as in Georgia, but the people that I can 100% say that if they're in your area, the first couple are obvious, right? Sal Renaro, freaking, not go without question. Kyle Matthews, you know, Todd Sexton. Uh, I'm gonna say Murder One. I'm gonna say no, no, no. Certain Matt Griffin. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. Like, corner people. QT Marshall. People with cornucopias of information. I'm trying to think, man. Those are really my top super brains. And there's certain people at tops of locker rooms, I would say too, right? Like my the pick I go to David Ali. I know that seems crazy, right? But if I have wrestling questions sometimes I go to David. David's been through so much. You know what I'm saying? The AR Foxes out there. There's people who have been around for so long that you can talk to that have been trained by the best of people. Those are my top. And I mean, I die on any hill. Sal Renaro, Kyle Matthews, especially man. Sal Renaro was a fucking treasure. You know what I'm saying? Like all the way. Like it's so many things, right? Like so many times. It's so funny. Every time I have a match of Southern Honor or AWE, and I do something, and I think, and I don't even think like I just did the match, and it went exactly how I wanted the match to go, and I'm like, hell yeah, I did it. I go to the back, and Sal got this smirk on his face, and he's like, yo. Why would you do this way? And why would you do? And it blows my mind how right he is. I didn't even think of that. Like that. It's beautiful with stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Those are the people. Sal, Todd, another one. Just absolute treasures when it comes to wanting to seeing a match a certain way and doing it. I'll forever. I love having Sal either agent one of my matches or I'll watch his matches and I ask him why he did something. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, there's a reason why he's a rotating guest on the show, right? Like, I mean, the
Yeah,
brain there is just
yeah, man.
there's
Yeah,
so
man.
much knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, he's a football buddy of mine. Like, we just talk football all the time. Like, that's the crazy thing is everybody always
Sal's the
laughs.
man.
Yeah, lots and lots of stuff. But so we've talked a lot about the breakout stars. We've talked about some of the veterans. But one of the things is every single month on the show, we kind of have a segment that we do, and
Okay.
usually I make the list. But this time, I want you two to do the list, and that is our underrated, underappreciated list.
Okay.
Like I said, we do it on a regular basis,
Yup. Yup.
and so I kind of gave you a little bit of a heads up. I did. I tried to give you a little bit of a heads up,
Yup. Yup. Yup.
but so I'm gonna let you now rattle off five guys that are now. I
Five.
always cheat.
Five.
The award is officially named after Vari Morales because he was
Yup.
on the list for so long. I'm like, he's
That's
off the
mad
list.
funny. That's mad
Yeah,
funny. You know why that's mad funny? Well, first off, this is my list. Whoever watches it, this is my list. Hopefully you know me. And if you don't like my list, come holler at me about it. I love for stuff like that. Now, I'm gonna hit the I don't think any of these people. I don't. All right, maybe underrated and underappreciated. I'll say. Okay, it's funny you started with Vari because that's what I was gonna start with. So you said the list was him because again, I just seen Vari twice this week. Vari's amazing. Vari's amazing. Vari is underappreciated. I think he should be on this list every time. You know what I'm saying?
he
Because
is. That's
Vari
the
is
problem. That's
yeah,
why we named
Vari's
it.
a
And we're
treasure.
like,
He underappreciated. Vari the man. I don't know. I don't know what changes that. Vari been the man for as long as I've been around. You know what I'm saying? So Vari will be first on my list.
I'm going to
He's
ask
not
you a
saying he's
question. I don't mean to
talking.
interrupt you. I'm going to ask this.
Please,
I had a conversation with somebody about Vari, and I just want you to, you don't even have to answer it. You can
please.
smile and answer it. I said, I always asked why he doesn't get booked more, and somebody said he doesn't get booked more because they don't want to put him next to their top guys, and then realize like then the crowd goes, wait, that dude doesn't like our top dude ain't that guy.
And are you really yo? I've always been of the example. Are you really a top dude if somebody can take it away from you? You feel what I'm saying? So like there's so much room in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I was a top guy everywhere I went. That didn't mean I was taken away from the other top guy. There's another one, but I'm me. So this is what it is. You got to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Vari do expose a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Vari can go and I mean Vari's always depended on by people that you want to be booked by. That says a lot. You feel what I'm saying?
I
So
agree.
Vari, I'll put Vari on my list. Um, Next person on my list, I'm gonna say Darian Bankston again. I think Darian Bankston is the most underappreciated and underrated person in Georgia, only because he's so responsible for the style of so many people. You know what I'm saying? Like Darian is like a savant in the ring. He come up with stuff. He's like we call him mad scientist because he come up with all the cool moves. He's a wealth of knowledge. He know all the Japanese wrestlers, all the daggone English wrestlers. He know the different styles of wrestlers, and he watch wrestling in such a way that he can like when I need to up my game and whether I need to practice something different, I need to try something different, I need to come up with a different move. That's why I'm in the lab with. I don't know how. I think people think he a lot more busy or he just a lot more inaccessible than he is, but he in Georgia, so I think he need to be on every list that there is. So Darian Banks would be not my next person on that list. Next person, the next people on that list, I'm gonna say, oh, this is a good one. Uh, I don't have an order to these. The One Fall Wrestling Women's Division on this list. Uh, Not to be trifled with. Every shorty that they bring in there is crazy. And with respect to everybody else in the state, every female that I've seen on a One Fall show is head and shoulders above every female that I haven't seen on a One Fall show. That's
I'm gonna.
my
I want to interject here because you did not know this. I
talk to me.
literally recorded the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight before we did this show, and in
Uh-huh.
that episode, I made the comment, without question, in my opinion, the One Fall Women's Division is the deepest women's division in Georgia. You could
Well, I
make a
mean, yeah.
case there might be a lady in another division that you think's better than
Who?
somebody in there.
Who?
Look, I was just making the case. So if you're
No, no,
trying to
no, no.
argue
I,
with
I
me,
asked. Like, I watch wrestling. I watch Georgia
yeah,
wrestling. Right. There's certain people that could benefit from going. Like, there's like who we got. We got Rose Gold. We got Crystal Rose. We got. I'm gonna put what's shorty name? Kelsey Reagan, she
yeah.
not there. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put Cat Spencer's in and out, but at this point, she'll rip everybody's head off. So you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So we just go. She a bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying? But if she
And your
wanted to,
and your other women's champion is Erica Demia. She's the viral champion right now. But
okay,
you've essentially
okay,
you've rattled off the champions at that point. Like that's it.
right, right, and they could all, not as good as they are, they could all benefit from running shot in that division. You know what I'm saying? What they are building over there in that women's first off, what they're building in that women's division is first the only one that's being built in Georgia that way.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And these girls are working twice a week, 3 times a week, going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Being trained by television, coaches. You know what I'm saying? And guys who really, really know the business. You know what I'm saying? They're all over the place as far as schools go and everything like that. So that's I think I would say that division is underrated and
I,
underappreciated. So what's
I
up?
would put their top four against everybody's top four.
Everybody. I put yo. I wish that intergender wrestling was a little bit more of a thing because them shorties would humble a lot of the dudes out here. That's my real opinion. Those four shorties will humble a lot of the men in Georgia wrestling if they co-mixed it. I think overall rest of the year needs to start peeing both of them in there because there's some women out
I
there that are. Come on,
said
there's
the
some
same
shorties.
thing.
You know what I'm saying? The four shorty. I think without a question, and I don't want to get too hard, but I think Isis Reed is the best young wrestler in Georgia, bar none. The fact that she's so young and she's been doing this for already 2 or 3 years, and the people that she's being trained by, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Helica Risk will put somebody down. Robin Renegade is one of the best wrestlers in the state, bar none.
I saw her
Hyena
go toe
Hera,
to toe. I saw Robin go toe to toe with Vari at a show.
come on, come on. What are we saying
Yeah,
now? You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? What are we saying now? So there's people. I think that they going crazy. They're going crazy, and they got women below them that are still coming up. I went out there. They still training more women that are getting trained the exact same way that are kicking ass. So shout out to the one
yeah.
for women's division. They going crazy. Um, I want to say underrated or underappreciated. Didn't I have somebody else on this list? I put Gator on there. I put I'm trying to, I got my number one. I'm trying to save him for last. You know what I'm saying? I would say one more person that's underrated. I'll say I don't want to be biased.
Be
You know,
biased.
I
It's your
don't.
list.
It is my list. All right, I'm gonna say underrated Rosario Grillo. I'm gonna say Rosario Grillo underrated. I think that I don't want to say underappreciated because I think people are just now starting to get put onto him. I think that people need to remember who he's trained by and the people that he be around, and I think that he needs all the opportunities that Georgia can afford. You feel what I'm saying? His character is brilliant. I think that he's a snob. I think he's obnoxious. I think that he's a heat magnet, and I think that we need that. You get what I'm saying? I think that we need stuff like that. We need wrestlers that just don't care. You know what I'm saying? I think that that's fantastic. You know what I'm saying? I like stuff like that. And number one on my list, and this is also biased, but I don't care. But it also goes. I'm gonna say underappreciated. QT Marshall. Without a question. My man is freaking single-handedly helping Georgia through the muck, training people left and right. You know what I'm saying? Bringing freaking celebrities left and right out here. Bringing my man brought Jay Lethal to Georgia for a whole month straight. And if you didn't see that, I don't know what to tell you. You know that Black Machismo was in the freaking Rumblejack. I don't know what else to say about this. You feel what I'm saying? My man going crazy. I think QT is responsible for. I think he's one of the driving hands. Him, Murder One, AR Fox. I would say are the three people that are mostly responsible for the Georgia Renaissance. I believe. You know what I'm saying? Like they the ones that really brought this place back. When I first came in, this place was a no man's land. If you look at the flyers from 2019, they look freaking ridiculous. Look like we was in the Stone Age. You know what I'm saying? I got here in 2020. I remember seeing my first Rumblejack in 2020. I wasn't even a part of it. I was watching it, and it was something brewing there. That's when you know what I'm saying. Hold My Beer, Hanson, Austin Towers. They were starting to. It was, Effie was there. There was so many people that were starting to do things. I think that was the beginning of this resurgence of all of this, and I think that QT has been at the forefront. Whether it was the Nightmare Factory, whether it was bringing AEW out here, whether it was the Monday Nightmares, whether it was daggone One Fall, whether it was Turnbuckle, my man just keeps putting on. I think that he's the most, you know what I'm saying? And people, I mean, what can you say about somebody like that? I think that he's the most underappreciated person out here.
A lot of people say a lot of things about QT. Let's just go with that.
And they should, because when you 101 and you don't want nobody and you don't care, like if you're one type of person, you're always gonna have because you don't bend to people's wills. You know what I'm saying? You're always this one way. So there's gonna be people that rock with you, but don't. But facts is facts and numbers is numbers.
And I know you work their show, so I don't put you in a weird spot, but I always tell people stop comparing yourself to One Fall because they're not running the same show as you.
Nah, they're not running the same show as anybody. They don't care. Like Indy's not coach is not out here trying to be an indie promotion. You know what I'm saying? He's running a small TV freaking promotion. You know what I'm saying? He's got cameras. He's got this. He's got spotlight. He's got Roman camps. He's telling you what to do. He's still training. If you see it
Yeah.
for what it is, he's still training. He's still teaching. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
teaching in a
So,
different way. He's teaching
but
live and
also
in the ring. Yeah.
but also for me, it's not. Let's take all of that out because I could be biased about that because I am their first student and probably possibly most successful. But let's take all that out. What he's doing for Georgia is what I appreciate the most. Again, I said every 5 minutes, I love Georgia wrestling. This place is my home, right? Again, he's bringing talent out here that people get to see on a constant basis. You never know who you might be in the ring with, whether it could be me and Cap, whether it could be Billy Gunn, whether it could be JMO, you know what I'm saying, whether it could be Robin and them. He's got these talent. I just wrestled Sid again. You know what I'm saying? Sid doing crazy. You know what I'm saying? I think he's doing the work. I see Diana doing ring announcing. I see Double B doing the commentary and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He is giving back to Georgia, and that's what all of this is about. There's been stars that came out of Georgia before me that I ain't seen back in Georgia since I was here. You feel what I'm saying? He don't gotta be doing all of this, but he chooses to. I don't gotta be back here doing this, but this is my home. I'm trying to leave this better than when it was when I got here. When I got here, it was an old boys club. All the same people winning, the same shows, the same matches over and over. Wanted to bang my head against the wall. But then we cracked that safe and we made them open up the doors, and now everybody eating. Southern Honor, we got a whole tag division there now. Thank you. You're welcome. You feel what I'm saying? Like, this is what we doing. We're bringing back to this place. I mean, look what QT brought women's wrestling back to Georgia. I've heard promoters be like, "Yo, I don't care about women's wrestling out here," and you saw it. You know what I'm saying? And now what? Now we got a list. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, and that's look that I was there. We've been doing the show since about
You was there.
2016.
You was there.
And I remember just like and for the longest time, I was just like, I just wish they would stop trying a women's division because nobody's doing it right.
For sure.
Like we're gonna book we're gonna have one female talent. She's gonna be our champion, and then every couple months we're gonna bring somebody else through. That was it. But
And you know what? And you know what? That was to the detriment because a lot of them, with the exception of maybe one or two, you don't see none of them women wrestlers around no more. You know what I'm saying? You don't see none of them. They gone. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like they got burnt out. It was the same thing over and over and over again. We snuffed the love out of them instead of pushing them where they needed to be at. You get what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, and that's they've left, they got smart, and they're like, I'm just gonna go wrestle out of state. They were wrestling out of state, or they just left, or they got out. It was I can only wrestle the same people so many times, but
And only wrestle the
that
same people so many times.
yeah. And then you got to move on. But I also, by the way, I tell the guys they need to get out of the state as well. That's another thing.
For
Get out
sure.
and do your thing.
I'm an example of that. That was my thing. You know, I stayed here for 2 years, and then I made sure that I built my stock up here to where other people wanted to bring me. And before you knew it, I was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to do. You know, shout out to Teriyaki. Teriyaki is the greatest example of that. That's who it was. The other people I was gonna leave off was Top Team off my unappreciated list. Them boys are
Okay.
crazy. I think that they're fantastic. But Teriyaki got up and got out the state. He's at every other GCW show. He's all over the place. Shout out to them. They're the Action Wrestling Tag Team Champions now. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing their names in other places. That's what's important. Shout out to Teriyaki.
Well, speaking of important, I do want to get to some of the questions because we're
Please.
going to be rapid fire here at this point. I've got all day. You may not, but
No, I'm
um,
chilling. Let's get it.
yeah, so we had everybody send in the questions, the listeners. We appreciate everybody who did. Send those to tappedoutpod@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of brought up a lot of this, so I'm going to ask you this first right out of the gate. Kay asked, in only a few years, you've accomplished so much in wrestling. She said, it's been amazing to watch with everything moving so fast. How do you stay grounded and keep balance between chasing your dream, being there for kids, family, friends, and still making time for yourself, though?
Well, on this side of the street, it's always 420, so that helps me out a lot. Also, I pray a lot. And it's life. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't really. It's not really a separation. All of this is what makes me me. You know what I'm saying? I try. It's like Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Kobe trained 3 times before 10 o'clock in the morning because that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? I want to be great. I gotta train. I gotta lift weights. I gotta look like a machine. I gotta study. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dad. My kids gotta have their time. All of you know what I'm saying? I got a shorty. I gotta make sure I'm there for her. I got family. I gotta make sure I'm there for them. And all of this is what it comes with. You know what I'm saying? And I can't say that I want it if I don't put this on my back and walk with it. You feel what I'm saying?
Priorities. That's what we call it.
Priorities, man, and
Priorities.
being
Yeah.
accept and being okay with the priorities.
Yeah. Harry from Columbus says, do you prefer tag team wrestling or singles competition when you're back here in Georgia?
In Georgia, I don't have a preference. I like tag team wrestling. I like wrestling with my bro. That's really really fun. You know, I really enjoy that. I really like singles wrestling too because that's where I get to push myself. That's what that is for me. You know what I'm saying? I get to push myself 13, 14, 15, 20 minutes, you know what I'm saying, and see how deep my gas tank is. And then it's only me. So it's like me for me, a lot of times Cap is always with me, either when I'm at my singles
Mm-hmm.
matches, right? So a lot of times I'm in the ring and I'm looking at him like, look at the match I came up with. Ha ha. You feel me? Like I'm killing it and stuff like that. So I like both of them.
All right. Sean from Woodstock says, what's one dream match you'd love to have in Georgia that you haven't had yet?
I got a couple. I haven't fought one-on-ones. Top of my list is me and QT Marshall. I want to wrestle him. I want to wrestle him. I've never wrestled him. I don't know how that's possible. He's wrestled all my friends. I haven't wrestled him not once. I haven't wrestled Hollywood Hunter James. I haven't wrestled Bryce Cannon. Not just as him grew me up, so I've wrestled him tons of times. Um, I haven't wrestled Joe Black at the level that I'm at right now. You know, I'd love to do that. Uh, I think I'd love to wrestle Brady Booker. You know what I'm saying? That's a match I would love to have. I've wrestled Drago before. I think those are, you know what I'm saying? Shoot Taylor's another one I think would be really. I'd love to wrestle Lee Johnson in Georgia. That would be fantastic. Me and Lee
Booker's.
Johnson would burn a
Yeah,
building
Booker's.
down.
Make it happen. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I would love to work Lee. Lee would push me because Lee can go. You feel what I'm saying? So that'd be cool. You know.
So here's a very similar question. So I'm going to piggyback it into it.
Please.
Logan from Gainesville asked, so you're given a main event opportunity at one Georgia Indie show, doesn't matter. It's in a tag team, however.
Mm,
Who's the tag team you pick to be across the ring from you and Shawn?
fudge. Can I? I don't know. I don't know. We've kind of. I don't know.
Have
You
you
know.
worked
I don't know.
everybody? I mean, basically, is that it? I mean, have you worked everybody
Yeah,
pretty
I didn't
much?
work. I haven't. I haven't worked the Crusade. They're Roach and Grillo. Never worked them two as a unit. Um, I don't think I've ever
I know
worked.
he called you out, by the way. He called you out last week.
Yeah, yeah, I know, I know, I know. Everybody calls me out, man. Like I get it. Uh, I I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's a tag team from Georgia like out here that I'm like, hey, like I really wanna go crazy. I would say the closest to that would be, I don't think they're a Georgia tag team, but we probably know them. Violence is Forever. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll bend the rules here. I'll expand.
they act, and I only say that because they action, right? Because they
Yeah,
action
yeah, yeah,
guys. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That's the only, but I'm trying to think of like for where I'm at and where I'm trying to go, like who's people that like a tag team that I would that I don't know.
Let me bend the rules then. I'm going to
Please.
change it from a Georgia indie to AEW.
In a main event,
Main event
main event of a
main
show,
event.
without a
You get to
question,
pick.
us versus the Guns, me and Cat versus the Guns, and preferably in a ladder match. Huh. And if you really want to be cool, making a triple threat match against the Gates of Agony. That'd be That's it. You know what I'm saying? That'd be iconic. Us versus the Guns in a ladder match. That'd be it.
We're going to go past a couple here. I'm assuming this one's an easy one. Marcus from Augusta says, "Do you approach matches on the Georgia indie scene any different than you do AEW Ring of Honor matches?"
I don't approach them. It's a lot easier on my brain. I'm a lot easier to think. You know, when the spotlight is on you, you want to be precise. You want to make everything count. Out when I'm at an indie match, I can kind of let my hair down. It's smaller, so I can really talk to the fans and stuff like that. So really, it's just a little bit of a different type of pressure.
Tommy from Savannah says, "What's the hardest part of staying consistent as a performer when you're hitting so many different places?"
Just doing it, just remembering why I'm doing it, trying not to lose focus. Sometimes I do get tired. I'm a grown man. You know what I'm saying? I get tired. Sometimes I'm hurting. You know what I'm saying? With the last indie run out here where I went crazy, I bit off a lot. You know, I was at work and I was here 2 times a week. You know what I'm saying? So it gets tiring. But other than that, when you love it, it don't seem like something that you shouldn't be doing. So it's easy.
This one's similar to the earlier question, but I think it's a grander scale. So I'm going to ask
Please.
you this because I think it might change the answer. Corey from Los Angeles says, "If the Infantry could feud in a program with anybody in AEW Ring of Honor, who do you pick and why?"
If we could feud in a program, man, I'm gonna give three answers. I'm gonna say the Young Bucks because they're the Young Bucks because that'll be probably the hardest match. That'll be one of the hardest matches of our careers. Um, FTR because what we had one match with them and it changed everything for us. So a program with them would change the way we even look at pro wrestling. So those are two pro picks. My personal pick, Outrunners. We did it with them. We've done it with them. We have a long. I would love that feud to go main television. You know what I'm saying? So though we've been doing it for years, that's who I would pick.
Sleeper team. I think they're if you talk about underrated teams, that's one of them right there. The outrun. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you another one. Give you another one. The Workhorsemen.
Oh
In a
yeah,
heart.
100%.
Oh my gosh, I would do a year-long indie feud with them because the matches would be out of control. And I've learned so much from Anthony Henry and JDJ behind the scenes. They've taught me. It was such a major part of my upcoming, you know what I'm saying, in wrestling and in tag wrestling. So shout out to those boys.
Listen, I'm a huge fan of Drake, JD Drake.
Yeah,
He worked our Hell Freezes over show. Remember?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
was
remember.
and he was such a gentleman and I was like,
One of my
and
favorite
didn't
people in
have to
professional
be.
wrestling. Yep,
Yeah,
one of my favorite
absolutely.
wrestlers and one of my favorite opponents. I've worked them both of them so many times. I would love a one-on-one with Anthony Henry, but then I also would not love a one-on-one with Anthony Henry. So there we are with that.
Brandon from Houston, Texas says, "What's your proudest moment so far in AEW and Ring of Honor television?"
My proudest moment would be probably All In. I can't. You can't get no bigger than that. I started all in. Started that mahjong. You know what I'm saying? 29,000 people. I started it. That was my biggest thing. That and the match before, the night before that, Supercard. I feel like me and Cap really showed who he was. We went crazy against Sammy and Dustin. What else can you ask for? We ran that match. You know what I'm saying? We ran it. We looked great. We killed it. And I feel like my reward was the next day on All In. You know what I'm saying? That was the proudest I've ever been, for surely.
Landon from Atlanta. Weird question, but I'm going to ask it. What's a moment behind the curtain in Georgia that reminded you why you love wrestling?
Um, Off the top of my head, when I got behind the curtain after my David Ali match to Southern Honor. I don't remember what number that was, but when we had that 20-minute banger, when he left, when he passed that torch off, that was one of the harder matches. And it was everything that I'd wanted it to be. That match would be a lot different now, but for where I was at in my career, for where I felt like I was going, for because he didn't take it easy on me, you know what I'm saying? So that was for and everybody, if you know him, you know how important Georgia wrestling is. So he really felt like he was passing passing a torch, and I had to earn it. I felt real proud of that, and the response that it got from my other wrestlers. You know what I'm saying? Like that let me know that I did well. That was probably the biggest one.
Is there anything better than that when the boys in the back are like, give it like you know that they know
Yeah.
that you delivered out there?
And that was my first one, because I was so young, and that was, what I'm saying, I was like 2.5 years in, 2 years in, you know what I'm saying. That was right before that whole Dishonor thing, so we talking real, still kind of early in my career, you know what I'm saying. That was major for me, you know what I'm saying. It was tough, it was hard. He beat the shit out of me, but I made it through, and I felt so good after it. You know what I'm saying? And then the guy, like I said, the guys in the back, I felt like that was real. A lot of people, you see them backstage now, they're like, "Oh, that was a great match," and it's just passe to say. But right back then, I felt like that was my first time I'd earned that.
Here's one from Greg from Watkinsville. What's something about traveling? Because I mean, obviously, you just crossed the pond, as they say, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
wrestling that fans don't see that makes a huge impact, like as far as the physical that it takes on you guys.
Um, First off, your Delta status. Your air flight status makes all the difference. Okay, you'd be surprised how happy or sad you will be by either A, getting a late boarding group, or sitting in a middle seat, or not having that little extra recline room. Boy, that makes all the difference. Also, traveling, making sure your headphones are with you. Don't leave your headphones because you'll have the worst trip ever. Trust me, I've never done it, but I don't like when I leave my headphones at the gym. You know what I'm saying? So imagine on a trip. It's terrible. That's the hardest part. That I think travel is travel. You want to go places. Things are far away. California, 5 hours away. Scotland was a 10-hour trip. You know what I'm saying? It sucked. The food sucked on the plane. But I mean, what else? How else am I get to Scotland? I gotta eat
Right.
it. So it is what it is. But really, the small accommodations make the biggest of make the biggest of the difference for surely.
Ricky from Gainesville, Florida says, "What's the one thing you've learned about the business side of wrestling that really surprised you?"
Can I say it?
Yeah.
Uh, that wrestling's ran by a bunch of bitches. That's what I'm gonna say. Bunch of, and I'm not saying, I'm talking the gatekeepers and all the just the old passed down rhetorics and all that other stuff. Like bunch of people that don't want to that just don't want to get their panties wet. It's just ridiculous. That's why I said earlier, mind your business and just do the best job that you can do. Just worry about what you can worry about. Like my coach Cody always told me, and I think it's because even he said wrestling was ran by a bunch of bitches without saying it. He said everybody in wrestling got a gun to your head. Don't give them any bullets. I'm from the hood. You know what I'm saying? So if you got a gun to my head, that means you got some shit. Like you just waiting to knock me off. Bunch of bitches. I didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. People just it's or for a better demographic, it's ran and gatekeep by a bunch of crabs in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? My coach used to always tell me you have to walk up to everybody like they're your best friend, like they your favorite wrestler. And a lot of people don't like that. They think that's fake, but that's business. That's is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's business. This is business, and business is ran by temperamental people in any business. You get what I'm saying? So it's not. It's only wrestling is only macho in the locker rooms or on camera. It's only like macho on camera. Backstage, it's a bunch of prissy bitches that want to play. You know what I'm saying? I want to play. You just don't get wrapped up in the politic of it. Yeah,
I
I
tell
did
people
good
all
with
the
that one.
time, I'm in sales. You do the math. Like, that's it.
Hey, I'm for sure. For sure, I'm in sales. You know what I'm
You are
saying?
in sales. You're in the Carlie Bravo business.
And let me tell you, business is booming, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Last one. Greg from McDonough says, longtime listener, first time question for Carlie Bravo. You are effortlessly cool. Can you host a seminar in Georgia to teach some of these dorks how to act?
Now listen, I got a friend named Jameson out there at McDonough. He's quite jacked. You know what I'm saying? If that's what I think it is, I will hold a seminar on how to teach these lames how to be cool. If he will hold a seminar on these lames on how to work out and look like a star. You know, that's my answer to that. Hey, maybe we combine the seminars and we make money off everybody. Now that's what I'd like to see.
The two of you make stars, right?
Hey, brother, we make stars, my friend. Shout
Yeah.
out to Jameson out there, the jacked one
Yeah.
himself.
Speaking of which, next week, special guest host for the Tap 10 show is Jack Jameson. So there's the announcement.
I tell you, y'all should be so lucky. Y'all should be so lucky to be able to sit here and listen to Jack Jameson talk that talk. That's my guy.
Think about this triple header I've hit. In 3 weeks, I've had Rosario Grillo, Carlie Bravo, and Jack Jameson in 3 consecutive weeks.
Oh
Is
no,
there
let's
a
go.
hotter
Hey,
podcast
whoa,
right
whoa.
now?
You had Bryce on there beforehand. Right? You had
I,
Bryce on there beforehand. Which, hold on. Hey Bryce. I heard all that yappity yap you was talking about this number one thing, okay? So I'm gonna address this directly, okay? If you feel like you are number one, that's fine. You know, I mean, my resume's kind of long this year. You know, I got belts on belts on belts back here. And I'm 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. This country, that country, and I'm still in Georgia. I don't know, buddy. I don't know. So I mean, hey, I'm not gonna take it away from you because that's what they said. But also, win or lose, it's bad news tattoos. Yeah.
eh, by the way, I'm sure a match could be arranged for that title, correct?
He,
Nobody's
like,
above it.
listen. I stopped taking titles from people, because it was taking too much shine. I don't want let them. I want Georgia wrestling to do well. I can't be here all the time. It needs its champions. But if you say my name, I will appear. Shout out to my brother Joe. You know what I'm saying? Don't be careful with that. Look what happened to what's that kid's name? J. Alpha Miller. Look what happened to that kid. Come on, shh. That's for everybody.
Yeah. Well, speaking of for everybody, we appreciate everybody sending in the questions. TappedOutPod@gmail.com. And also for being a fan of the show. There's other ways you can do it. Obviously, patreon.com/tappedOutPod. We went all the list of everything you get earlier, but we're not going to go through it again. But we do want to remind you, if you're a YouTube watcher, look, it's right there on the screen. Click that little subscribe button. Click that little notification bell. That way you don't miss an episode. Right now, we're knocking out about 3 episodes a week. You get the tapped in shows where you're going to have guys like Carlie Bravo sitting in and just kind of, being the guest host here with me. To the Georgia Wrestling Spotlight. I know you're a fan of that because we're trying to get, like I said, a little bit of a spotlight to those promotions and get them all, out there. And then, of course, the Tapped Out show where Myron and we discuss a lot of the national stuff. We talk a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This week, by the way, little tease for that show if you're watching. This week, we're going to cover our top 10 under 30. Guys that are
Ooh,
out there that are under 30 that we think
ooh.
are like the next wave. And by the way, it's not all guys. So there's a
Okay.
little bit of a tease.
Okay.
Spreading the love
Okay.
around to
I
all over
love
the,
that. I hope Grayson Pierce is on that because I've been watching him too. He's been doing his thing.
This is going to be nationally, like this is on the national stage. So I'm dodging letters a little bit while you're here for me. So, but yeah, so they'll be on there. But check that out again. YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, Apple, Amazon podcast. You pick it, you name it. We're everywhere for all that matters. But all that matters right now is you're checking out Bad News and Tattoos, Carlie Bravo, whether he's on AEW, Ring of Honor, on the Georgia indie scene. Doesn't really matter where. If you see his name on the marquee, buy a ticket. Now, if they're looking for where to do that, how do they find you on social to kind of follow you a little bit just to know where you are?
Everything Carlie Bravo, Carlie Bravo. Or you can go to Google and just put Bad News and Tattoos, and I'll pop up. That's me. I'm everywhere. You'll find me. I'm not hard to find.
Well, when you do, That's what we always tell you guys. We always talk about it time and time again. Listening to us is a great way to support the the indie scene, but the best way, the absolute best way, follow us, follow our post, whatever, find a show close to you, get in your car, drive to said show, buy the ticket, and then have your little seat there, look up into the ring, check out that guy, Mr. Bad News and Tattoos, and just maybe we'll see you at the matches.
Bring